So let's go into InDesign to start with, and we're going to create a new file. And I want it to be 8.5 by 11. Turn off facing pages, and we're going to have three different ones because we've got 3 different cell sheets that we're going to build. So it's an 8.5 by 11 document, 3 pages, uncheck facing pages. These should all be one right after the other. These are going to be single-sided. I think they'll probably work out to be single-sided cell sheets. And half-inch margins are fine. And let's just go ahead and under bleed, make that 0.125. And I'm just going to start off with a column structure of 4 columns. Why not? All right. 8.5 by 11, 3 pages, 4 columns, half-inch margins, 1/8 of an inch bleed. Yeah.
Where's the cell thing that we're supposed to copy? I can't find it.
It's on Brightspace under in-class materials. It's the bottom. In-class materials, all the way at the bottom says cell sheets. All right. And we'll go ahead and create this document. Zoop. There we go. That's what we should have. All right. So, let's set up real quick. Let's go to our parent page. We've talked about parent pages. I'm going to put a guide across at about 4 inches. Because we're going to place a photo here, and that's what I want to use as my location for that. And then I'm just going to set some other guides every inch down the page. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Not really eyeballing it, but so just to give myself some guides to go off of as I'm working. And at the very bottom of it, I'm going to place a text box across the bottom. And I'm just going to put just put your name. And yeah, just put your name. We'll leave it at that. Doesn't really need to be anything else. All right. So I did that all on my parent pages so that now when I go back over to page 1, 2, and 3, it's got those guides on it and I'm kind of ready to go. All right. So let's go to our Word document. And the first cell sheet, I'm just going to copy everything and then I'll remove what I don't need. So I'll just copy all of this. Go back to InDesign. And I'm just going to draw a text box. And paste that text into it. So my text box goes from like my second guide down towards the bottom. And then, so the document that I put up there is the way that if you work in an agency or you work with a copywriter and a copywriter provides you with text, usually they'll have them set up in a very similar way where they call out their headline, their subheads, and the body copy. So I just need to sort of delete those labels. And I'm only going to pick one of the two subheads. I'm going to go subhead 1 and remove subhead 2. So I've got Power Your Day, that's going to be my headline. Stay Connected Without Searching for an Outlet is going to be my subhead. And all the rest of this is my body copy. All in one document, or all in one text area. You can do multiple text areas. I know lots of people that'll put a headline in a text area, a subhead in a text area, body copy in a text area. I think it's extremely inefficient for a couple of reasons, but the biggest reason is that whenever I apply style sheets, if I have everything in one text area, it allows me to be consistent on my spacing between them all. All right. So do we all have text into our file? You good on that? All right. So then I'm going to pick a typeface, and you're going to need to as well. But I'm going to start with my headline and go over here to my text panel and pick a typeface. I'm going to use, I've got Montserrat, which I'm going to use. I could use Helvetica. You should have Helvetica. Like maybe I'll use Helvetica Bold. Actually, we'll use Helvetica. Keep it consistent. We can all do that one. So select Helvetica Bold for our headline. And then I'm just going to set the point size on it. I want to change it from 12 points and make it 32. And the process that I usually use when I do this is I just kind of start roughing things in and then I go into the details. So 32 points, Helvetica Bold for my headline. My subhead here, stay connected without searching for an outlet. I'm going to make that Helvetica, let's see. I'll make it Helvetica regular, but I'm going to make it 18 points. And then all my body copy, I'm just going to make Helvetica regular. But I'm going to make it, instead of 12 points, I want to make it 11. So when I work with style sheets, I can do this a number of ways. I usually rough things together first. I'll pick my typefaces and just, get my major styles kind of planned out, just like I've done here. It needs a lot of finessing and massaging, but at least I've got the basics all set up. So what I'm going to do now then is go in, I'm just going to select my subhead or my headline here and go to my paragraph styles panel. And I'm going to, the little hamburger menu or the plus sign down here at the bottom. Actually, I'm going to use the plus sign at the bottom. Click the plus sign at the bottom. Adds a new paragraph style. And then if I open that up, it's going to be my headline. And I'm going to leave everything else alone for the time being. I'm going to do that for my subhead and for my body copy as well. So there's my headline style sheet. Here's my subhead. Click that plus sign. Open that paragraph style. Subheads. And then I'm just going to select all of my body copy. Click the plus sign. Open that paragraph style that it makes. Make that body copy. And say OK. All right. Any questions so far? No? Pretty straightforward. All right. So let's take a look at this now. So now we need to kind of start styling this stuff a little bit. And I'm going to do that through my style sheets. So let's start with our body copy, because I think it's the simplest. So I just deselect everything. Just click out in your pasteboard, the gray area, make sure nothing's selected. And I'm going to open this body copy style, slide it over here to work so I can see everything. And we're going to take a look at these style sheets, the different options here real quick. Our basic character formatting, which I already applied, is all right here. So I only set my point size. I don't want to leave the leading solid, which is the default. So I want to make my leading actually, I'm just going to bump that up to like 14 points, maybe 15 points. When you do that, you should see your body copy adjusting. So I opened up my leading to 15 points. So I'm 11 on 15. And then it's kind of bad form in document publishing like this to use return spaces to make bigger breaks between your paragraph. Like and you've seen a lot of times where people just put an extra return space in. In desktop publishing, it's kind of bad form to do that. So that's why my document doesn't have any of that. But it does have return spaces in it. The return spaces are between each and every paragraph. So if I come down here in all these options, if I come down to indents and spacing, or at least I hope my body copy has a return space in. I'm going to change my space after, it does, to 0.125. So you see that whenever I do that, it's opening up some space between my paragraphs, right? So far, so good. And there are other changes we can make, but I think that's a pretty decent change for right now. So basically, I have adjusted my body copy paragraph styles. So I'm just going to say OK and accept that. And now I want to modify I'm going to do my headline next. So I'm going to open up my headline. And let's just, I'm going to go down to that indents of spacing, and I'm going to place a space after that's 0.25. I'm going to make this one a little wider. I want to go back my character formats. I'm actually going to tighten up the leading, I think, a little bit. And maybe we decide, maybe our design calls for a rule that runs underneath our headlines. I can come down here to paragraph rules. I can do a rule below, turn it on. You'll see I get it right off the bat. And I'm going to offset. It's sitting right on the baseline right at the moment. I can offset that. So offset by 0.125. I could do the same thing with rule above. I got rule above as an option here. I just select it, turn it on. It'll also place it on the baseline of the first line. So if I use rule above, I really need to offset it significantly more to get it above my headline. But I think I just want the rule below it. So I'm just going to turn the rule above back off. Do that. I like to try to keep my spacing between paragraphs and whatnot relatively even or divisible. So like my paragraph spacing is 1/8 of an inch. And to be entirely honest, usually I won't use inches for this. I'll usually switch over to points and use points to set these measurements because they're smaller units. But for what we're doing here, we'll stick with inches. So my paragraph spacing on my body copy is 1/8 of an inch. I made the space between the rule and the headline 1/8 of an inch as well, but the gap between the headline and my subhead is 1/4 of an inch. So I try to keep consistent spaces between things if I can. One of the biggest, a big contributor to a clean, organized layout is good alignments and consistent spacing on the elements that you're using. So kind of keep that in mind. It's not a hard and fast rule, but like I said, I'm really just kind of focusing on clean, solid layout here. So that's the guideline I want to kind of go by. All right. And then, so that's good for my headline for now, I think. There are a whole bunch, actually we should probably take a look at these paragraph styles a little bit. There are a bunch of different settings. Indents and settings, that allows us to place space before or after. Yeah.
When we were doing a body copy and we were doing the space after thing, my entire paragraph, not just after the paragraph, my entire thing spaced out.
Everything did?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on a minute. I'll take, oh. Are you talking about just all the lines the body copy did?
Yeah.
Did you just copy out of the Word document and paste? So turn on, let's see, I'm going to select, okay, I want to accept my paragraph styles here. Go to type and go down to show hidden characters. Under the type menu, hidden characters is all the way at the very bottom of the list. All right? Did you find it? Okay. So make sure that that's on. Now let's zoom in. Let's take a look at your text. See these little blue markers that I've got? I've got these paragraph markers here, but then I've got the paragraph markers only come after the last bit of text. Do you have a paragraph marker after every? Wonder how you imported that was different. So what you should do is this. This is fine. It's actually good that it happened. I'm going to leave these special characters up. I think it's kind of good to be able to see them anyway. So what I'm looking at here, just to kind of cover this real quick. When I'm looking at special characters, that's our paragraph break. If I come down here, the dots are spaces. So if you've got paragraph space after every single one of these, we need to correct that. So what I'm going to do is go to the under type. You can do this one of two ways. You can manually remove those. Just basically place your cursor on every line and delete that paragraph break. That's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is to go under, let's see, find change. And we can say find what? What is the... There's a little, see this little icon sitting out here next to find what? So find change is found under file. Do you have it?
Under file?
Hold on a minute. Under edit? Oh, yep, sorry.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
All right. Find change, Command F. So there's this little icon right out here next to the field. If you click on that, end of paragraph, and you're going to change that to just type a space in there and say change all. Then you're going to have to go back and put return spaces in for your headlines and stuff. But we'll just go forward. We'll just say change all. Made 6 replacements. Say done. Now select all your text that probably got real big. Did it?
No.
What happened?
All my spaces were removed.
Say it again.
All my spaces were removed. Not my paragraphs.
So did you... Yeah, let's do this again. Command Z. Edit.
Do you want me to highlight this? Like my text?
No, you don't need to. I just select the text area. If you just select the area, it's fine. Find change. You want to make sure you grab end of paragraph. and then change to, just type a space in there. And then say change all. You got it? Say change all. And if you ended up with, let me do that, just so I get what you get. There. Okay, so it just applied my headline to it. Select all that text, apply your body copy, and then just go back in between, after anywhere the sun shines, put a return space in, stay connected without searching for an outlet, just put a return space in there. And I'm going to remember where my other, and return spaces into your paragraphs. And then you should be able to, since you already get your style sheets applied, select those and just apply the appropriate style sheet. We good? All right. So I'm going to select my headline here and just go back into my headline style sheet and look at these for just a few more minutes. All right. There are boatloads of settings in here. I mean, I can do any, I can create pretty much any formatting that I want to within a single text block. It's kind of hard to go through them all, so I was just going to kind of go through them as we needed them for the most part. But I did want to point out, under indents and spacings, we can change our left indent, the right indent, just the first line if we want to. Maybe it's something we decide to do with our body copy. But we can add spaces before, space after. That kind of thing. Tabs we'll look at when we're ready to do tabs. Paragraph rules, we applied that to our headline. Borders, shading, kind of take a look through them and see what you find. One of the things, though, I do like to set, I don't like, and I find that a lot of clients don't, like hyphenated words within copy. You can always go into your style sheet under hyphenation and uncheck hyphenate. We'll make sure that within that style that the words never hyphenate. I think it's good to keep hyphenations out of the mix if you can. They kind of help with the paragraph rag, but sometimes you get really weird word breaks, and so I usually turn hyphenation off. Span columns we'll look at in a moment, but drop caps if we want. Bullets and numbering we'll look at in a moment. Character color, go in here, I can make my headlines all blue if I like. So on and so forth. Those are kind of the biggest ones. So we want to do as much formatting within our style sheets as we can, I think. So I'm going to leave my headlines blue. We'll just say okay. And the last style sheet I have to modify or style is my subhead. So if I open my subhead, I'm just going to add a space after it as well. Indents and spacing, space after my subhead. I'm going to make 0.125. And I'll just leave that one alone. So when I'm done, I've got this neatly formatted document. At least my text is anyway. We good so far? All right. So let's go ahead then and go to our next page. And I'm just going to go back to my copy deck. Grab the next product, AeroBrew Smart Coffee Maker. Just going to copy that text out of that document. I'm going to go to page 2. I'm going to draw a text block out and paste that text in there. It picked up the last format that I worked with. Oops. I'll just select all that, and I'm just going to apply my body copy to it to start with. Zoom in, and then I just kind of need to clean this up. My headline, barista style quality coffee. Place my cursor right in the middle of that headline. Hit my headline style. I'm going to take just the first subheadline. Place my cursor there in that line of text. Go over here and apply my subhead to it. And then last but not least, select all my body copy and make sure that I've added all my body copy to it. So what, 15, 20 minutes of setup on my first page? And I've formatted my text on my second page in under 30 seconds. And I'm going to do the same thing with the third page. So just go ahead and do that. Cell sheet 3. Just grab all the copy it. Go back to page 3. Draw my text box in. Paste that in. And then go back in here and just real quickly. Notice that whenever I apply, as long as I've got return spaces in between my important lines or my changes, all I really got to do is place my cursor within the line of text and click on my style sheet. Subhead and my body copy. We have our copy all 3 pages in and copy formatted. Okay, I'll give you a couple more minutes. The way I did this, I mean, you can create, if you know what you want your style sheets to be before you even start, you can create your style sheets beforehand if you want. I mean, the way I did it, by formatting lines first and then creating style sheets from those, you don't have to do it that way. I just kind of find it easy to work that way. I kind of do almost everything that way. I work in broad strokes and then I work my way into the details. If you tap W on your keyboard, you'll see you should get a good sense of what your printed page will look like at this point. But I set up a basic grid. There's some style sheets, and I've got three documents that are nice and clean. So I'm going to do, let's see, what do we got? We've got a solar backpack. I wonder if I go to pexels.com, photo, let's look for a hiker in a mountain. There are a few places you can go to get free photos. Pexels.com is one of them. Unsplash.com is another, although Unsplash has kind of started selling some of them. Pexels is still really easy. So I'm just going to go to Pexels and grab a photo of a hiker in a mountain. Maybe this guy. I'll just download that file. And come back over to my document. I'm just going to place a photo in it. Are we all done with formatting our text? Okay. So I just went to pexels.com, pexels.com. You can find any photo you want, but I just searched for a hiker in a mountain and downloaded one that I liked. And then just drew out a text area and I placed the image I drew out a picture frame. and I placed the photo into that picture frame. All right. And then if I want to make sure, I want to fit this a little bit better. I mean, it came in at full size, and I can, this little viewfinder, little dot in the middle of it, if I click on that, I can, move it around. But I want to actually resize that. And what happens whenever I place an image like this, it's the full-size image inside of that box. But if I right-click on that picture area, right-click or control-click on it, there's a fitting option in the contextual menu. And any of these options, you can kind of pick. Fill frame proportionally, fit content proportionally, or content-aware fit. If I do content-aware fit, it just kind of crops it, resizes it, and then I can slide it up or reposition it if I want to. So let's go back and look at our style sheets a little bit. So, like I said, I'm building everything inside of one document. What if I decide I want 2 columns of text in this text area, though? I can make that change. I'll just select this block, and if I go which one do I want? I can't find it because this is always the way I do it. If I right click on the text area, text frame options or Command B, I'm going to do text frame options. And when that text frame options come up, I'm going to switch from 1 column to 2 columns. When you do, you should get something similar to that. You could choose 3 if you wanted to, but I decided to work on a 4-column grid, so I'm just going to go to 2 columns to keep it simple. 2 columns, I'll leave the gutter alone, and I'll say OK. And that's great, but what if I still want my headline and my subhead to stretch all the way across? I don't want them to be confined to a column this way. So if I'm just going to click out here to the side so I deselect everything, and I'm going to go into my headline style sheet. And if I look down here through the options, there is a little below halfway, span columns. And if I select span columns, paragraph layout single column or span columns, and I'll just let it span all of them. Didn't work? Or you got it? You're good? So, I can keep a 2-column text area and change my style sheet. The only other way to do it this way, or to get a column to stretch, or my headline to stretch all the way across 2 columns, is to do separate text areas. But if I do separate text areas, I don't get that control over the spacing like I've given it already. So if I make edits, I've got to remember to go back into every cell sheet and make that edit. Where if I just do it this way, my spacing all stays consistent and I've got, my 2 columns. So I'm going to go and say OK, and I'm going to go into my subhead and I'm going to do the same thing. Go into my subhead style, go down to span columns, and I'm going to change it from single column to span columns and let it span all of them. Say OK. What?
What do you do when you get the plus sign again?
What about the plus sign?
The next sign is gonna change. Next to the paragraph styles.
Okay.
You get the little plus sign next to like.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hover out, so like what you have is this. Hold on. Somehow, you've got that, right? The little plus sign.
Yeah.
Just hover out here, hold down your option key, and click, and that'll override styles. Did it work? Okay. So what she was asking about is if I go in and make a modification to this, let's say I decide to make this first paragraph, instead of 11 points, I make it 13 points. What I have is, it's got this body copy still applied to it, but I've applied an override. In my text area, I created a customized, I changed the point size on it. And when that happens, the style sheet gets this little plus sign, which is my warning that I've applied an override to this copy. So you can do this, but if you go back and make a change to your style sheet and make sure that it applies to everything, then any customization like this that you've done, you'll lose. So there's another way to handle that kind of thing, which I'll show you in a moment. But if you get, if you made a modification and you get that little plus sign next to it, you want it to go away, hold down your option key and click on the style sheet, and it'll override the style and return it to what it's supposed to be. All right? So now if I come down here to my other styles, my other pages, they've still got one column for all their text areas. If I just select that text area, Command B, brings up my text frame options, go to 2 columns, all of my style sheets stay in place. But because of the way I handled the span on this, even if I've only got 1 column, the copy still all looks the way I want it to look. Text frame options, go to 2 columns. All right. So let's do this. Let's say I'm going back to my first style sheet here, or my first cell sheet. Let's see. And I'm going to change, let's say I want some bullet points in this. So let's see. Let's do this. I'm going to place another line of copy. Do features. Oops. Features include. And then, let's see. We'll let inside the sleek weather resistant design is a lightweight lithium power bank that stores energy captured by the sun. After that, multiple USB-C ports is going. I'm going to return that line. And I'm going to return thoughtful organization pockets. And another paragraph after there. So I modified my copy a little bit. Features include, and then I made the first sentence a paragraph. What's that? Multiple USB-C ports, that sentence a paragraph, and this one a paragraph. So I want to make bullet points for this. So I'm just going to select these three paragraphs, these three bits of copy, inside sleek, multiple USB-C, and thoughtful organization. And I'm going to create come over here to my paragraph styles and add a new paragraph style. So I'm just going to click the plus sign at the bottom of the menu. And this one I'm going to open up, and we're going to call this bullet points. And what's important to notice about this, because I already had this copy selected when I created that, here under General, there's this based on, and it says body copy. Because originally I had body copy style sheet applied to this text. So any change I make here is going to use the body copy styles, and I'm just going to make modifications to them. And what this allows us to do is, if I need to change point size now later on, it's going to apply the same, change my body copy style, it'll also change my bullet point style, because my bullet points are based on my body copy. So let's see if we can do the bullet points here without causing too much headache. Bullet points are a little bit of a pain, but that's all right. We're doing them anyway. So I'm going to come down here along the side to bullets and numbering. List type, bullets. I should get something funky like that. And so what I want to do is start messing around with these settings right here: left indent, first line indent, and the tab position. So the tab position is what's set. And I want to show you a simple way to go about doing this. There are some people you can make these bullet points be, either second line flush underneath the bullet, or you can make it so that they're all flush after the bullet. People do it both ways. So let's see what we can do here, and then I'll show you an alternate way, I think. So I'm going to make my first line, let's see, left indent or my first line. Let's make my first line indent. I'm going to make it 0.125. That's going to bring the bullet in a little bit. Usually bullets are offset from our copy here. And I'm going to change my tab position. So my first line is 0.125. I'm going to change my tab position to 3125. Let's go to 0.25. And that kind of pulls everything over. Get something like that. Usually when I do bullet points, this is as far as I go. I do the rest of it in the text area. Although by applying a negative left indent, we can make all of this text flush. I've got an easier way of doing it. So I'm going to leave it like this. First line indent, 0.125, tab position, 0.25. And we'll say OK. And now if I come back in here to my text and I place my cursor just before the first letter of each bullet point, so in this case, just before the I, if I hold down my command key and hit the backslash key, it'll force the rest of those lines over flush. Come down here to multiple USB ports, place my cursor just in front of the M, hold down my command key and my backslash key, and I'll do the same thing with thoughtful. Command key, backslash key. So what I've created is my bullet points text is based on my body copy. And all I really did was I added this bullet point option to the style sheet. So now if I were to go back into my body copy, let's open that up. Go to basic character formats. And let's drop my body copy to 10 points, the size. You'll see that my tabs style sheet also changes. And I can close up my leading a little bit too, maybe 10 on 13. Say OK. But I can kind of control everything that way. One of the things I will do sometimes with bullet points, especially in this kind of a scenario, if I want to make sure that it's clear that my bullet points, because usually I forget, I usually, whenever I name my style sheet, if it's based on another one, I'll do either based on body copy, or I'll just put a dash and then body copy at the end so that I know that it's based on that particular style sheet. All right. But when we build cell sheets, documents and InDesign, creating style sheets is the way we want to do it. Plenty of people that don't. Don't be one of the people that don't. It just creates flexibility. It speeds up the revision process. It speeds up further formatting within your document. I mean, the benefits are huge. And like I said, a lot of professionals, I'm not going to say all of them, but an awful lot of professionals do use style sheets and get annoyed when other people don't. I'm one of them. I've got a bunch of files right now that don't use style sheets, and it's driving me batty. So it's so difficult to keep things consistent. That's the thing. So, because the nice thing about style sheets is, and I'm not going to do it here yet, but we can also import these style sheets whenever I've got three cell sheets in here, but say in 2 months, I need to create 4 more cell sheets, but I don't want to do it in this document. I can create a new InDesign document. I can import the style sheets from this document into it. So, even across months, I'll keep consistency. So, those are paragraph styles. Everybody always seems to confuse the difference between paragraph styles and character styles. Paragraph styles are large formatting decisions. Those are headlines, that's your body copy overall, those are subheadlines, basically block level text. Block level text is anything that appears between return spaces, basically. That's what block level text is. Character styles, on the other hand, work on individual characters, individual words, individual lines, but are not intended for entire paragraphs. All right? So, if, for instance, my client says, LumaCharge solar backpack always needs to be bold. I always want my product name in bold. If I just select that text and I go to my Helvetica menu and I make it bold, that's okay, except that now my body copy style shows that override, that little plus sign that we hate. Well, we don't hate it, but so rather than do that, what I'm going to do is create a character style. And I'm just going to, actually, I can do this the same way that I just did the other ones, actually. I'll highlight LumaCharge Solar Backpack. I'm going to make it bold. And then I'm going to go to my character styles panel, click the little plus sign. I'll get a character style, and I'll call this emphasis or something. All that it does is changes the font style to bold. It leaves everything else blank so that it always picks up the base style. I'll say OK. So now my LumaCharge Solar Backpack has a character style applied to it, and I don't see the override on my body copy at all. So if I were to go and change my body copy font to a sans serif, the character style would stay in place. Character styles are also used to help customize. We can customize our bullet points, any number of things. Our page numbering, whenever we get into making tables of contents, we can customize, leaders for those, any number of things. But we'll just bold that, and I'm just going to kind of go through, and any place that says LumaCharge, I'm just going to make it bold. You got to highlight the text that you want to set the style sheet on, though, the character style. Here's another LumaCharge. I'll make it bold. LumaCharge. So that's the difference between style sheets and character styles. When you're making style sheets, always assume you're making paragraph styles. That's what you should be making first. Any small adjustments like this, you want to use character styles for. Any questions? Save this document. Cell sheets. And we will pick up on this another day. All right?